Journal entry, August 25th, 2024. One day before WotC's B&R announcement, we have a Legacy Showcase challenge, and I have no choice but to play the broken deck. Blue-Black Rescaminator. This is the final form of the deck, at least how I have it. This is a Legacy Showcase challenge, which means that if I top 8 this thing, I will get to an invite to the Showcase qualifier thing in a few months, the one at the end of the year. And so I want to play the broken deck and do my best in it. If you're watching this from the future, this deck is almost certainly not legal. By which I mean, if I'm posting this tomorrow, Monday, August 26th, and you watch this mid-morning, August 26th, this deck is probably already not legal. But that's why I'm playing this. I'm kind of trying to do this to capture it for posterity and just to get some broken gameplay so that when we look back on, hey, what was Blue-Black Rescaminator like at the end of its existence? Looked like this, more or less. I'm playing 17 lands and 3 trolls. A lot of people play 16 lands and 4 trolls. 20 total is kind of the point here. I'm doing this with the second Undercity Sewers, just so I have a little bit more surveil action and a few more keepable hands, because you can keep a hand with a land and no troll. You can't keep a hand with a troll and no lands. That's a little decision I made there. Playing one main deck Tamiyo because she is very good, and I have a few flex slots. In order to fit the one Tamiyo into Fatal Push, I cut down to 3 days, and 3 Animate Dead, and 1 Brazen Borrower. You could play 4, 4, and 2 if you wanted to not play these cards. But I like them, they're good, so they're in there. Over to the sideboard, I've got Consigned to Memory for the combo decks and Eldrazi deck. Harbinger of the Seeds for the Eldrazi deck and other decks that are weak to that. Dark Betrayal for the blue-black deck and the mirror. Toxic Deluge for swarms of low-power creatures. Barrogoyfs is basically a great pivot. Bowmasters is a great pivot. More Fatal Pushes. And a couple Brazen Borrowers to bounce things. Pretty straightforward deck. It's very powerful. I'm sure you've seen this by this point in Legacy. But you won't have to see it again after today, so that's fun. I hope that you enjoy this, even if it's not going to be legal when you're watching. Just kind of to enjoy watching the broken deck do broken things. I'll try to win all my matches and crush this showcase. See you in a minute. Hello, we are back for round 1. We're against the current Legacy champion, current Mox champion, and all-around crusher, Stefan Schütz, Mental Misstep. Good friend of mine, great player. Now, do I want to keep this hand against Mental Misstep? That's the question. I think I do, actually. It's a little bit of a weird hand, because if he griefs me and reanimates, he can get Archon of Cruelty. So I was kind of hoping he doesn't do that, which success. Now, if he surveils a non-land into the graveyard, I might just fire off a Wasteland. Okay, he put a card on top. So now at this point, I think to reduce the odds of something going horribly awry, I'm going to grief pitch Archon of Cruelty. And then, well, first I'll kick off with the Wasteland. And then I'm going to grief pitching Archon of Cruelty. I'm doing it in this order so that he can't daze me. Or maybe do it now. Then I grief pitching Archon so that he can't take my Archon and reanimate it. Or no, but now I have Frog. So maybe I want to pitch Troll instead. Or pitch Fatal Push. I'll grief pitching Fatal Push. Because now I can Frog, discard Archon, and reanimate with Animate Dead. Okay, so he has his own Archon of Cruelty. Got a Force of Will, Ponder, Brainstorm. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the Force Or take the Ponder. Taking the Ponder is probably the most disruptive play. Because he has to force pitching something. And I can just try to play around this known force in his hand. Find out we both have Archons in our hand. So he did put a card on top. So we'll see what that means. Looks like the card on top was an Underground Sea, and so he's just passing it back to me. And now I've drawn both my reanimation targets. Not ideal. And so now my play is probably to do a basic island here and then cycle Troll for Swamp. So now the lands are known. It's likely that he's going to Brainstorm. Grief pitching Archon. I'm going to see a pretty wild hand of mine. I don't think he takes Troll here. I could Troll cycle first. But I just don't think he's going to take the Troll. If he does, like, I'm actually kind of okay with that. Because I could get as my own Surveil land and try to get my mana working that way. He took the Animate Dead. That makes sense. Now he's using a Brainstorm to try to clean up this whole mess. Finished resolving the Brainstorm, now he's cracking a fetch land. Pondering, okay, so he's going to have 3 cards left in hand after this. I assume there's going to be some sort of disruption, whether or not it's the actual force or some sort of daze. He knows about this frog. So he knows that at the bare minimum I have this frog coming down in a wasteland-proof way because I'm going to go Island Swamp with these two pieces here. And then from there, we will see what I do. It's a tough decision for him. The Ponder has resolved, and I'm going to go basic island and then cycle for swamp. So my mana is rock solid. Entomb is really not the card I wanted with my 2 reanimation targets already in hand. It'd be much better as a reanimate. So the frog is eating the force that we knew about, so force pitching Brazen Borrower is gone. And now really what I need is a Brainstorm. Like that. I need Stefan's Brainstorm, but in my hand. Alright, so Stefan Brainstorm played a Wasteland, so no shuffle effect. Brainstorm of my own? No. I play a land, it's going to get wasted possibly, but there's not much I can do about that. Okay, if this is an Entomb Reanimate from Stefan, which it probably is, or Atraxa, Grizzlebrand, oh boy. Yep, I'm in trouble now. Yep, Grizzlebrand. So the reason why Stefan's playing Grizzlebrand is because with Frog, you can immediately turn your surplus of cards into a lethal threat. So that's what they've got going for it, or what he's got going for it here. Okay, so Animate Dead, Grief Reanimate. Unfortunately, I don't have the right target. I guess I can reanimate my frog. and then try to animate. This is like a desperation play here. I will try to reanimate my Psychic Frog, and then discard these guys and then reanimate them. It's unlikely to work. But, yeah, okay, I'll concede. Concede to the Grizzlebrand and the Force. Okay, so moving into the sideboard. So, the typical way to sideboard this is to cut the reanimation package because it can backfire so easily. A lot of people either cut griefs or forces alongside that, and they bring in 10 cards. So I've got, of cards I want to bring in, I've got these 11 basically. And so I think that I'm going to cut these 11 in order to kind of hit the best of both worlds with being able to grief here and not worry about being like having force count. Because I have 3 Brazen Borrowers, so if my griefs get reanimated by Stefan, I can borrow it back to my hand, which is not so bad. So I think that's how I'm going to run it. I could also cut 1 Wasteland. Maybe I do that. I cut 1 Wasteland for the 4th grief. That seems fine. Because Island Swamp is really the name of the game here. And I want to be able to have stable mana and also kind of expect Stefan to have stable mana if he needs it. This hand has Grief Pitch Grief. It has a Troll. It's Animate Dead Dark Betrayal. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to Grief before I play a land. I know I don't really have a choice about playing this Undercity Sewers, but I want to kind of imply that I do have a choice. And of course, if I see a Wasteland in Stefan's hand, I will have to be more careful with, like, I'll have to really pray that Undercity Sewers can put a land on top. Dark Betrayal is a good card to have here. It covers pretty much all my bases on destroying creatures. Okay, Stefan has kept 6 cards. Oh, he's kept 5 cards. Okay, let's see what the 5 are. Let's make it 4. Okay, Dark Betrayal, Fatal Push, Brainstorm. So I'll take the Brainstorm and leave him with Dark Betrayal, Fatal Push because I think that's the... I want to be able to anticipate his hand. And I'll put this Fatal Push in the yard because I already have a Dark Betrayal and I need lands. Granted, this Troll will get me land, but I still need it. Okay, so he plays Sewers first. So we know 3 of the 4 cards in his hand. I think I... cycle Troll into another Undercity Sewers here. And just try to get... I like having a borrower, I think. Yeah, I think I like that. That way, if like one of my cards get reanimated right now, I can bounce it back to hand. Looks like he's troll cycling his own troll here. And doing more Undercity Sewers action, kind of mirroring each other. Now, given that I know about this Dark Betrayal, it would make more sense to animate dead the Grief than it does to animate dead the Troll. So I'm going to start off with a Brainstorm. Cool, that was a good draw. So I think I'll put away Fatal Push and I think Psychic Frog just because it eats it to all those spells. And then I'm going to go for an Animate Dead on Grief now. Just to, looks like I'm getting Fairy Macabre. Well, I was trying to rip a card out of his hand, and in a way it worked. Granted, I don't have a grief anymore, but you know, what can you do? This is animate dead on his troll, yep. So now I can Brazen Borrower this troll back to his hand. I'll do this on his upkeep so he can't use his mana efficiently. This is a very good use of Brazen Borrower, which is why I'm doing it this way. I could also, Dark Betrayal it, but this is more punishing to future use cases, essentially. I do have to be aware of the Fatal Push Dark Betrayal, meaning that this Bowmaster is not particularly useful right now. So I'm not going to throw it in, just let him use his mana. Reanimate. Okay, so now what I can do is on end step, I can flash in Brazen Borrower. And then at some point, I'll be able to try to throw a Bowmaster into play in response to a Brainstorm or something. Okay. End step here, I'll Borrower. Then I'll attack. See if I can't get him to use some aspect of the frog. Okay, time to shove with the Borrower. See what he does. Lets it connect. So I will Dark Betrayal the frog. I could also just reanimate his frog. Maybe I do that. Okay, got a frog. Now, remains to be seen what happens here with regard to this frog. Hopefully he doesn't Brazen Borrow it back to his hand. That's the downside of what I did. But no, he just kills it. That's fine. So now I'm going to flash in a Bowmaster so that I can try to capitalize on my beatdowns. Fatal Push might be coming in now to kill my Bowmaster. No, it's not. Tamiyo is a nice draw. I'll attack first to not be too face up with her. Okay, we've connected. Tamiyo's in. And hopefully I'm not walking into a Toxic Deluge or something. The troll being cycled. We knew about the troll because I bounced it back to his hand. There's the Underground Sea. It's really the card we still have questions on is this Fatal Push. 4 mana, what's happening? Stefan, what are you doing to me? Okay, Fatal Push Tamiyo. And Fairy Macabre is a blocker. Makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to this because there's no point playing it yet. I will just attack with Brazen Borrower here. No point just staring at each other forever here. See, he even didn't block. And then eventually I will be able to... Uh-oh. I can no longer attack with Brazen Borrower, because this frog can eat it unless I find removal. Found removal. Great. So I will attack with Borrower now. And we'll see if the frog does frog things. Like if it blocks and discards 2 cards, I can Fatal Push it. He's given it flying. Block, yep. So discard 1 card. Yep, and then is that it? Just the one? Nope, he's discarding 2. So now I can Fatal Push on the frog. And I've taken 2 cards out of his hand. Feels very clever. Okay, so now I am just kind of trying to not screw this up against the best Legacy player in the world, in my opinion. Brainstorm is a really nice draw. I'm going to attack first. Okay. I think I'm going to do it. Fire off the Brainstorm. Okay, great. So put these 2 away. Let's animate dead the troll, I suppose. The fastest clock. Sidesteps a lot of removal. I think it's the troll. And then I will wasteland one of these lands. Pass it back. Cool. Tied up the match. Okay, so now on the draw. Does any of my wants on like forces or anything change? I could cut 1 more wasteland to add a force. But all my blue, I don't have that many blue cards in the deck at this point. Like I do have frog, but like these cards are all so important, right? I guess I do have a decent blue count. I could just go with the forces. But it's hard to say. I think that I don't want forces. I could also cut the griefs and do, or like cut do like 2 Entombs and Archon and 2 forces. It's kind of as a way to high roll the draw a little bit. I don't mind that. I think I'll try this. It's a little bit against the rules, but I think I have to break the rules to try to break serve against Stefan while I'm on the draw. Because he's such a good player. This is like a little catch-up mechanism. This hand is very good. It's got 2 reanimation spells. It's got 2 Dark Betrayals, the best removal spell. Very happy with this. Look, stable mana. So I'll lead on Polluted Delta here. And I'm going to try to play around days as best I can this game. Because I'm going to have stable mana too. So, or I could just YOLO it, could go completely unstable, try to Dark Betrayal it, see if it gets dazed. And then if it does get dazed, I Dark Betrayal and reanimate it. Try to ride this aggressive line. Okay. Let's try it. Let's try the aggressive line. Let's kill it. Try to. Might get dazed. Or forced or something. Let's it go. Now I have a abundance of 2-drops. I think given how hard Troll hits and how much it hurts, I think I'm going to fetch Underground Sea here. Or no, I have a bunch of 1x spells. I'll fetch Island. I'm going to try and animate dead on Stefan's Troll. And there's a bunch of various answers for this, including Fairy Macabre. But at least Stefan's Troll is now out of the picture. I traded a card for a card. I kick Frog. A Force, which is not perfect. See here. So I have several choices on what to play at this point. I think the clearest is just Dark Betrayal Frog. Okay, that worked. You can see where I'm kind of why I was so unsure about getting this island here, because like a lot of my spells do not currently function. Another frog. So I can't go for reanimate on Stefan's stuff now because he can just exile it to the frog. I could go for my own stuff, but I don't currently have that capability. So what I think I'm going to do on this turn, I'm going to flash in a Bowmaster. And I'm going to put the 1 point of damage on the frog, which means that he'll have to discard another card to keep it alive. Or is this getting dazed and it's all going to go fall apart? Yep. That's okay though, because now I have a reanimation spell or a reanimation target for my Bowmaster. So I'm not too upset about this. I don't love it, obviously. Don't want Stefan to run away with the game with his frog. Animate dead on the other frog, okay. So I can get Bowmasters in play. I'm in pretty good shape. Another land is fantastic. It's not another land. Okay, so given my hand suite, how likely do I think it is that Stefan has the second daze right now? Not particularly, and if he does, I'll force it. So I'll push to get this Bowmaster in play now. This might be a Fairy Macabre. That's probably my worst outcome. Oh, he does have another daze. Okay, so I'll force pitch daze. And I've had to do this here. Unfortunate. So deal 1 to Stefan. Now, in order for this frog to deal damage, it's going to have to fly. I'm sorry, going to have a card discarded to it. So I hopefully do end up in a place where I'm able to have him overcommit to a frog and then be able to Brazen Borrow it back to his hand. So I will block like this, I believe. Yeah, this forces him to deal 1 here. Okay, so he's killing... That's rough, okay. Killing my Bowmaster. And he's going to have to discard to this frog in order to get it strong enough to deal damage, so he will draw a card now. Hopefully I can get 2 Bowmasters in play. That's my goal here. Still falling short on that goal. I'm going to continue to use 2 mana spells over 1 mana spells because of the way that my mana is working. I want to be able to do a 3 mana play on a turn where I draw my next land. Oh man, okay, this is rough. Can't daze it either because he has an untapped land. Now Stefan's likely going to run away with this game. I could reanimate my Bowmaster and still be in decent shape, but not looking good. The resources are just compounding for him. So he's leaping both frogs. And so he's going to draw 2 cards here, and I don't have any Bowmasters in play to punish this. They're both dead. So again, another land drawn would be really good for me right now. That's really bad for me. Okay. I guess now I can Brazen Bar it back to my hand. It's not the worst. As this game progresses, it's maybe not so bad. Now this is a Ponder. I think I'm going to daze it just because every card in hand is worth something. Okay, cool. So now I can reanimate my own Bowmaster. I'm going to hit Stefan's real Bowmaster. And now I will hang back. Air quotes, will let the frogs connect. I don't really have too much say in the matter. Oh boy. Okay. Really don't have much say in the matter. Getting annihilated here off of this reanimation. This is just frogs running with the game, by the way. That's a synopsis. And there's no point chump blocking. There's no point. Yeah, I need everything I have as far as resources go. And so I am in a rough shape, as they say. Okay, so I will leave my Bowmaster around, like in play, to bounce it with my Brazen Borrower. I don't think it's super likely that Stefan is lethal with his 4 cards in hand in these frogs, so see what he does. Okay, he's gonna Grief to clear the way. Whichever one of these frogs, if I bounce something, I'm screwed regardless, essentially. I can bounce a frog, and then he can kill me with the other frog and the Bowmasters. I can bounce my Bowmaster, he takes it with Grief, and he kills me with frogs. I guess that's what I'll do. At least this one goes back to my hand, not his hand. And I'm not using this troll preemptively just because it's very clear that that Bowmaster is the right pick here. I am pretty dead. It is tough to beat Stefan in the mirror, or anything really. He's such a good player. Respect the hell out of him. You know, if I'm going to lose a round one, it may as well be just Stefan. And also, you know, you guys are getting what the Rescaminator mirror looked like with the best player in the world, arguably, in my opinion, on the opposite side of it. So watch, he discards 3 cards and I die. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there you go. We're 0-1, but I think we're going to have good breakers. So I'll see you all for round 2. Hello, we're back for round 2. We're against Litis, who's last seen on Nadu. I'm going to keep this hand. It's got removal, it's got Troll plus Reanimate, it's got Animate Dead Frog, it's got Brainstorm. Lots of things to like for a very balanced hand. Like, even if I get straight up like Chaliced or Blood Mooned, this hand still goes Underground Sea, cycle Troll into Animate Dead. Like, this hand functions through most things. So, I like it. Okay, Cradle Pass is an interesting opening and good for me, I suppose. So we'll see what is offered here. Arbor. Hierarch. So I'm going to... I think I'm going to want to Fatal Push something of this. Probably the Hierarch. Or maybe not. Maybe I just let mana happen. Not entirely sure. But I kind of want Hierarch out of here. I think I'm going to cycle Troll for an Underground Sea first. And then I'll make my determination on Fatal Push on my next turn. Okay, well, that I think helps sway things a bit. I will go Entomb, Reanimate with an Archon. Entomb, Archon of Cruelty. Reanimate, Archon of Cruelty. This might get forced or Endurance. It did not. So, looking good. And now in combination with this Fatal Push, I should be able to keep the board completely clear, especially since I drew a Force of Will. So that's why this is the broken deck. It's got this like very solid fair axis, and then it can just instantly just also put an Archon of Cruelty into play and ruin opponents' days. So I'm basically going to counter whatever this is because I can push and sacrifice and leave my opponent. Yep, I am going to counter that. So the idea here is I'm going to try to eliminate my opponent's entire board. This confirmed it's, I guess it might be Cradle control. It's looking more like Cradle control than Nadu, but yeah, I was going to be able to attack, make my opponent sack a creature, Fatal Push the other one, and then they have a Cradle and nothing else in play. So against Cradle control, I think they're going to have a huge pile of endurances that are going to make some of the reanimation plan a little bit weaker. So I think I want to like cut down on that. Like cut these cards, 3 Animate Deads, 1 Entomb, 1 Atraxa. And then I want Toxic Deluge, I want the Bowmasters, I want the Fatal Pushes. Once I confirm they have the black cards, I'll bring in Dark Betrayal, but for now I definitely want Barrogoyf. I think that Grief is probably not as good, but it's not dead either. Borrower's also kind of but maybe it's better than Grief. in this particular situation, since I'm cutting way down on my reanimation spells. Yeah, I think this is reasonable. I could see playing one Dark Betrayal, just kind of assuming that my opponent is playing like White of the Reliquary and stuff. Because the Cradle control deck does play 4 White of the Reliquary. It plays Baraglyphs in the sideboard. Yeah, I'll bring in Dark Betrayal over Borrower. This is sideboarding against their sideboarded deck, not sideboarding against their game 1 deck. So that's kind of why this looks weird, but I think it's correct. Okay, well we have no lands, so that's a mulligan. We have lands, and it's a pretty reasonable hand overall. I think it's a keep. I think I'm going to put away the sewers, because I can always troll for it, and troll allows me to shuffle off this brainstorm. Yeah, I'm not going to fight over the hierarch here. Frog is a great draw. So we'll get Tamiyo into play. And then next turn I hope that I can attack with Tamiyo and then brainstorm to flip her. Attacking first to generate a treasure. Or a clue. My mistake. Clue token. Said the wrong name. Clues are like a treasure to me, is the thing. Okay, I'm not going to fight over the Reclaimer. So now they have 3 mana. So they might be waiting to flash in an Endurance on me. And so I'll attack. I'll let them flash in the Endurance, I think. Or maybe not. We'll have to see. Nope, they don't have Endurance, or they're not using it yet. Okay, so let's flip the Tamiyo. Opposition Agent, Bowmaster, Bowmaster. Don't really want that. Okay, so we flip. And we found a Fatal Push, but we can't use it just yet. So put away Wasteland, and I guess I need to keep Wasteland right now. So put 2 Trolls on top. Flipping Tamiyo. Plussing Tamiyo. Then in my end step, once this mana is done floating, I will Wasteland this Cradle. So I'm holding up force basically at this point. And then I'll draw a troll, and then I can cycle for another land and remove something. That's the plan at this point. See what's happening. Green Sun for 0. Into like another Cradle, maybe. Green Sun for 1 into another Cradle. Play Cradle, then Green Sun for 1. We'll see. Okay, Wooded Foothills is land for turn, which could become a Cradle with Elvish Reclaimer. But I also wouldn't be too shocked if Light of the Reliquary is what comes down. Another Hierarch. Even though the Hierarchs counteract the Tamiyo quite well, I'm just going to let this happen. Yeah, so always yield. So this attacks as a 2/3, which is not my favorite. But I think that I'm gonna just essentially try to hold this Fatal Push for as long as possible to try to convince my opponent to attack with the creature I can Fatal Push. That's my goal right now. I'm just going to hold this Fatal Push up and try to wait. This might be Arbor. Okay, Underground Mortuary. So they're searching for the right card right now. They decide they don't want their Fatal Push right now because it does not kill Tamiyo once it flips. They do have 4 mana for Natural Order. At least I have Force to counter that. They've now bogged me. I'm bogged down. And they're probably going to attack with Reclaimer into my Tamiyo. Yep. So now I will Fatal Push it. And Tamiyo does not take any pain. Love to see it. What's happening? 3 mana. Green Sun for 2. I think I let this happen because I can just rebuy the Fatal Push. Yeah. So first things first, I'm gonna play this Undercity Sewers. Baraglyph is a real nice hit. -3. Fatal Push to hand. And then I kind of have to wait until attackers to use it. Because otherwise they can just attack me with a Hierarch and I can't do too much about it. They might, if they're smart this turn, they might just attack me with a Hierarch anyway and not attack with white. So I'm going to force this Bowmaster. And now they can probably just attack with white on my... If they attack with a Hierarch on my Tamiyo, they're really thinking well. Yep. That's definitely the play. And I think that even though this loses me my Tamiyo, I have to push the white. This is maybe a mistake. Oh, this was definitely a mistake, because now they can phase out. Forgot about the Talon Gate thing. Yeah, they're going to save their white here. I just was not thinking. It's a mistake. Talon Gates of Madara are really good. I should have just done this before they untapped. I was getting greedy. It's just a mistake. But Baraglyph coming in is going to be great. So now we will see where things go. Big white of the Reliquary. But Death Touch is Death Touch. If they attack, I block. Because they could all, because it says Vigilance, they could also block on the other way around. Like if I let it through, so this is kind of a forced block for me if they attack. Which they are. So block. They accept the pain. Possibly. They phasing out something? No, they're getting Lair of the Hydra. Okay, so this is how they're going to push through damage now. One card in hand. Wonder what it is. It feels like maybe it's like Atraxa or something. Yeah, I guess I'll find out what it is right now. They're casting it. Varigloif of the Roan? Very macabre, just as a beater. Okay. Toxic Deluge is going to be good. I'm going to let the board advance a little more before I do that. And I'm just trying to get my mana going here now. I drew the troll. I can get a sewers. I can get a little bit of control over the top of my deck this way. Ponder seems good. We'll put it there. So if they commit a card to the board, like a creature, then I can deluge. So they did. Next turn I'll deluge, probably. I'll ponder first because I want to be able to make my decision with full info. But that seems like what I'm going to do here. Oh, absolutely, now I will. So much good stuff. Okay, so this Hydra is coming in as a 2/2. There's no way for me to snag this deluge, or to snag this Hydra with the deluge, so it's a fairy in the deck or something. So this is just going to be a toxic deluge for 2 in all likelihood. But let's ponder first. Fatal Push and Ponder are both great draws. I'll put them in this order so that I can't get the push discarded. And then I will deluge X equals 2. 2 life. Ouch. Okay. And now opponent commits to the board. That's fine. If they commit to the Hydra, that's also fine. Once upon a time. How does the story go? What will they find with their Once Upon a Time? Springheart and Antuco. I'm really glad I'm going to be able to Fatal Push that before it starts making too many 1/1s. Let's see what else I have going to. Ponder first. Frog, okay. 1, 2, 3. So I will Fatal Push. Play a frog. And I'll pass. Doesn't have reach or anything, does it? Nope, just XX. And since I know my card 2 down is an Underground Sea, I'm going to want to fetch before I draw off a frog. So I will play my land and crack fetch before I draw. Looks like Lair of the Hydra is coming in. Yep, has a 3/3. So I go to 11. Okay, so now I play this land. I attack. Once they fetch for a Dryad Arbor, I will give this flying. Okay, they didn't do that, so I will just fetch now. And days, not quite what I want, but maybe better than the alternatives. We'll see. I might actually catch them in a daze because of this layer of the Hydra. They might tap out for something because they want to use layer. We'll see. Oh, more lands. Okay, so I do need some sort of action soon to answer this Hydra. Wasteland would work. 4/4, so I'm taking 5 here. That's quite painful because that means I'm dead on the next turn. Unless I find something in these next 2 draw steps. Okay, well I found a blocker in the next draw step, so I'm not dead at the very least. So I can just attack. Okay, so I will play Frog. And it's a 3/3 blocker. Or 3/4 blocker, currently. Or threatening to be one. So let's see how much damage big my opponent makes their lair. Okay, I could daze this. If I daze this, I think that what happens is their Hydra stays in reasonable size. Let's check. So this costs X green to activate, and so right now they can pay, like, consider this the green, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to make this a 4/4, attacking as a 5/5. But if I daze it, they could only pay 1, 2, 3, which means it's a 3/3, attacking as a 4/4, and that's still bigger than my frog, so I'm not going to worry about it. Big Hydra, 4/4, attacks as a 5/5. Okay. Now what do I need? Wasn't a land. I think I have to attack to try to get something good going on here. 2, 3. I just have to hope to hit something. Nope, did not hit anything. I will hold back and see what they do. Maybe I can psych him out a little bit. I don't think so, but especially not now with this Cradle in play. Okay, so it's a big layer. I'll wait till attackers just so that opponent doesn't think, like, if we don't get to this step, I have an answer. And I do not have an answer, so we're tied 1-1. Gonna be on the play game 3. So given I saw all the Fairy Macabres and stuff, kind of makes me want Grief a little more than Force. Then I can, like, put 1 Animate Dead back in over a Troll, Swamp. Over basic Swamp. No, but then I just get Endurance all the time. Yeah, maybe I don't like this. Let's... I do kind of think I want to lead on, or have Grief on the play, though. Feels right to me. Maybe they're going to board a little bit differently since I didn't draw any of my, like, Entomb package that game. Maybe they just might not think it's in the deck anymore. Okay, there's the Entomb, there's Troll. I'll keep this. And I will brainstorm end step because I can upkeep cycle a troll or use Entomb. I'll brainstorm now actually in response to this hierarch. So I drew a wasteland. Does that change how I want to play this at all? So I could go put away troll and delta. Yeah. I could daze this. So I'm going to daze this hierarch. Then I'm going to grief pitching troll, and that will help me determine whether or not I want to wasteland. Or use delta. Grief pitch troll. I know I have a troll on top, right? So they don't have any, if they have a bunch more lands, which they have some lands. I think what I do is I take Green Sun here. No. Take Endurance. Yeah, I'm going to take their Endurance. And then if I waste them, then they're stuck playing either Arbor or Cradled Exposed next turn. Otherwise, they have... Yeah, I want to delay them. Although, hitting the Cradle could be good. Nah, I'm gonna waste the Hydra. Keep it awkward for them. Take an Endurance. Now they have to either lead on Cradle with nothing or Arbor. They've chosen Arbor. And so now I will Delta Pass. I think I'm going to fetch a Surveil land on my end step, or on opponent's end step. Now they have 2 mana. So they can Green Suns for 1 to get black online for white the coming turn, or play Eldritch Reclaimer. They played Reclaimer, and they're maybe going to Green Sun for 0. And it's holding it up. Okay, so now they have 2 mana. So I get my Stewards. Don't really want Swamp at all. Okay, now I have Entomb Reanimate. Let's see if it works. 2 of their 4 cards. Reclaimer's not currently online, so yeah, I'm gonna try it. Entomb Archon. Let's try to reanimate it. Cool, we got it. Archon is in. And now, opponent's in a bit of a pickle. They have ways through this. They're not dead, but they're in trouble. Follow-up Frog is going to be really good as well. Okay, what if Foothills for turn? Probably going to fetch a Talon Gates or something to try to prevent my Archon from coming in. Which I'll let them do. I'll wait for attacks first. That's my guess on the play here. It's like fetch Talon Gates, phase out my Archon. To try to delay things. And then I play Land and Frog. I wonder if it's going to be the Cradle getting sacrificed. Maybe, because they want green-black. Yeah. So Archon is phased out until my next turn. So Frog goes into play. And I pass. So this is a pretty good situation for me to be in. Because now I have a Frog able to apply pressure and an Archon that my opponent has to like juggle to just stay above water. Their head above water. Because Archon's going to put them away if they let it attack. They've got a green sun, a Cradle, or green sun and a white that I know about. They just played a Cradle. Give me a green sun for 1. Need to use green mana for that. Okay. Another Reclaimer. Okay, that's how they're doing this. So I will fetch another Undercity Sewers on end step to try to get control of this game. Barrowglyph, fantastic draw. Okay, so I'll start off with a threat of combat with this Archon. Sack Talon Gates for Talon Gates. Agreed. Archon is no more. I don't want to discard my Barrowglyph, so I will make Frog fly. And connect. Draw a card. Brainstorm's good. I think maybe I want to brainstorm when they're tapped out of Bowmaster. Because I can maybe get some answer to these Reclaimers going on. Hey, there's some answers to the Reclaimers. So since I have not played a land yet this turn, I can cycle Troll for an Underground Sea. And just push these guys over. This turns off Gaia's Cradle, which is why I'm doing it now. As good as Barrowglyph is, removing my opponent's board when they have Cradle in play is better. If they play one creature and can't juggle this Archon out of play, then they're also going to be in big trouble. Okay, Arbor is how they're handling that aspect of it. They need their white in play. Yeah. This doesn't have reach, it just has vigilance. So. Oh, this makes things easier. Now I can kill the Arbor and force them to sacrifice the white. An opponent agrees. That's the game. So we're 1-1. Defeating Cradle Control and losing to Stefan in the Mirror. Let's, or I guess in reverse order. Let's try to win out. See you all for round 3. Hello, we're back for round 3. We're against DL Cabello, who I believe to be on Jeskai control, given they just top 8'd the last Legacy Challenge with it. So their deck looks a bit like this for clarity. So we've got like Narset to parry Jace, a bunch of removal, 2 4th Erlingus, 2 Supreme Verdict, 2 Dress Down, 2 Back to Basics. And Cyborg's got like a bunch of blasts and Wrath of the Sky, stuff like that. So the card I'm probably most scared of in high quantities is Narset. And this Wasteland is not looking great because of all the basics. Grief is solid, I think. I'm going to wait a little bit on it, though. Just because I want the game to progress a little more and I don't want my opponent to know what I'm on just yet. Pondered again and shuffled. Okay, this wasteland's looking a lot better now than it used to. Let's do Undercity Sewers. I don't need another force. Animate Dead is quite nice. So let's do a Grief Pitch Grief. And then I can always daze the removal spell or I can waste them. They have to hit the removal spell on the first part of this. Otherwise they won't have the opportunity. So now I'm going to float black and daze this. So they're clearly trying to hide something important. So if I float black and daze this, then I can still animate Dead and take 2 cards. So I can take Supreme Verdict. I can take Lorien. I think I'll take Supreme Verdict first. I guess I'll take Prismatic Ending. I'll let them force it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So now they have to force this Animate Dead. I get to rip another card. And I'm okay with that outcome, I think. Force Supreme Verdict. Now maybe I force back now. Yeah. Because if they don't let this resolve, like if they force again, and they have nothing in hand, cool, this is okay with me. And so they've got 0 cards now. We've done a big battle, we've got rid of everything. Now hopefully I can waste here and then let the frog take over. Another frog sounds good, so I'll start with the wasteland. And I'm just going to try to ride frogs to victory. I'm just doing a desperation brainstorm now. Trying to find some sort of reasonable target, a reasonable like fetch land and consistency. Like a Swords to Plowshares and a Plains is probably like what they want right now. Though they found at least access to a Plains. Now let's see what I find. Don't want another land. So now what do we see? Okay, 3rd land. And I think it's more likely at this point that this Grief is going to be cast for 4 mana. They found the plow in the land, which is kind of what they were looking for there, but I've still got more left in the tank, and they're kind of out. Unless this is like a Narset or Teferi. Should be annoying. Oh my god. Oh, that's even worse. There's a basic, though. So I'm going to hold this until I can find another land, just so I know what to fetch with what. Okay, just going to hold back on this. I need another basic land. Okay, now I can go Island Swamp, and I'm doing okay again. That was rocky for a second. These lands don't untap. 4 mana, no Jace. Now I have a Force too, which is good. They probably have a force thinking about it of what they're not casting. Since I drew another blue card, I jammed out the second frog so I can press my advantage. And advantage is successfully pressed. I'm up a game in the match. So let's look at their sideboard. It's going to have some graveyard hate and some board wipes. Okay, so Purify the Grave is a little bit hard to discard through. Like they'll have it. If they have it, they have it. I think that what I don't really want is I don't really want the fatal pushes. And I don't really want things that I'm going to 2-for-1 myself too hard on. So I do kind of want the Entomb Reanimate package to like run away with the game. I don't think I want Wastelands. I think these cards are all pretty iffy. I think that I want Bowmasters. And then I either want Barrowgoyf or Brazen Borrower. Or both, and I cut 2 forces. Or like a Daze and a force. Since I'm on the draw. That seems okay. Just trying to increase the density of like very relevant spells that I have. I could play 1 Toxic Deluge to try to like beat a pile of Forthrlingus, but I don't think that's what I want to do. I think I'd rather be playing Forcible for that. Or just like Bowmaster Borrower shenanigans. Bowmaster is quite good against the Monarchy. This hand has a lot to love, including access to 2 basics. Triggers Cage means that Reanimate isn't going to be doing much, but I do have Brazen Borrower in the deck. So at some point, maybe I can end step bounce the cage, and then once the cage is bounced, use the Reanimate. That's what I'm thinking is most likely at this point. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the turn. My opponent, I'm going to probably try to end step a Borrower. Sorry, end step a Bowmaster, I misspoke. See what they do. They're just hanging back. Still think I'm going to do it because I want to basically go threat into threat. I will do it off of blue. So very likely gonna get a Brainstorm here or just some Plow or something. Yeah, Plow. So I attack first. I'll fetch a basic Swamp and play a Barrowgoyf. And now my opponent might have another white removal spell. They don't. That's good for me. They do. Okay, so kind of want to force this. Kind of press the issue. Nice. Let's surveil first. Land into the yard. And we hit. Deal 2 damage, I'll mill 2 cards. Do Grief back in hand. Now I'll do Grief pitching Animate Dead. See what is in their hand, like if it's a Supreme Verdict or something. Okay, 2 spot removal, a bunch of spot removal spells. So I think I'm going to take Prismatic Ending. Or do I take a Planeswalker just to like bury them that way? I think I take a Planeswalker just to... I guess I'll take the ending. I was just trying to think about growing power toughness of these Barrowglyphs. I think it's of greater value if I just run out the Barrowglyphs. Now my opponent has not too many great options here. They drew another land, so they can Jace, they can Teferi Bounce. Teferi Bounce is, I think, their plan here. They're going to want to leave open Tundra to do that, so they can draw into a white removal spell like a Plow. They have successfully Teferi Bounced. So there are sorceries in the graveyard, so there's no benefit to reanimating first. So we attack Teferi, we attack DL Cabello. Teferi's gone, I mill 4. Return a Grief. Cast Grief. And that gets eaten, forced pitching Teferi. Okay. So it's either Supreme Verdict or Jace coming in next turn. Jace would be a little bit annoying. But I do have ways around it. Bouncing Barrowglyphs, then I'll attack. Attack Jace. One, two, three. Barrowglyph not griefing because there's no cards in hand. Then we'll see what opponent does. Probably a Brainstorm with Jace, yeah. So now Supreme Verdict is their best draw. They need 2 removal spells, really. So I think that what I'm going to do is a pre-combat Grief, assuming I don't get Supreme Verdicted, because that's going to be the way that I figure out how to point my attackers. The Celestial Purge got rid of that one. And 3 mana Fourth Erlingus. Okay, Fourth Erlingus. Now you holding back or you attacking? You're gonna put the Monarchy in the game? You are, okay. Respect. So now this is forcing me to pick either hitting Jace or hitting my opponent with this. And so I'm going to hit my opponent because I have a Grief. We'll attack opponent. I want the Monarchy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play a Grief. Brainstorm. Then I draw a card on end step. Prison Borrower is fantastic. Like we talked about, I can now bounce Grafdigger's Cage and then kind of like grief it away and go crazy. And of course I will make this trade if I have the opportunity to do so. But like Jace is drawing an extra card a turn, as is the Monarchy, right? So this trade was okay for me, assuming that I can keep some semblance of control over the game. Yeah, I'm not making this trade. Sorry, opponent. I'm keeping my monarchy. So first things first, I'm going to petty theft the Graph Digger's Cage. Now I'm going to reanimate Grief. Surgicling all the Griefs. Well, at least they're not all in my hand still. And I can kill this. So I know the Graph Digger's Cage is the last card in hand. I can effectively kill the Jace and not worry too much. I don't have any other creatures in the yard. So I will ponder first, just to make sure that I'm doing this all correctly. Daze and Tamio and Delta all seem okay. I want that. I'm trying to figure out what the game looks like at this point. The game's a win versus losing. This can't get Mystic Sanctuary, which is very convenient for me. But soon Mystic Sanctuary is a problem. I'll do any order. Entomb is potentially good. Let's attack the Jace. I draw another way to bounce the Graph Digger's Cage that's coming in, then my Entomb Reanimate will be online. A Brainstorm is also quite good for that sort of thing. Finding cards. My opponent, I think, is conceding because they don't. I think they're going to try to get back Fourth Lingus and then realize when they're fetched that they couldn't, because that appeared to be their game plan here. But I got the match. I will see you at 1-2-0. I'll see you all for round 4. All right, we're back for round 4. We're against Adorno666, who I know to be on Death Shadow because that's what he plays. Nice person we play online against each other quite a bit. Yeah, good dude. So there is, if I draw a blue card, there's actually a good argument for me just going straight to discard here on this Archon of Cruelty. Even if I don't, I have Grief Protection. Maybe I do it. Yeah, okay, I drew a blue card. I'd have Grief Protection and Force Protection for this Reanimate. So yeah, I think I'm going to go just straight to discard and discard my Archon of Cruelty. And then on my next turn, I'll go Grief Pitch Troll and then Force Pitch Ponder to protect this reanimation. I think I'll do it off of Underground Sea. Grief Pitch Troll. What we got? Brainstorm in response, okay. Not going to fight over this. I want to fight over the remaining cards. To dismember a ton of shadows. So I'll take the dismember, I suppose. Grief dies. Yeah, Adorno said, so glad when this is gone. Tomorrow it will be gone, but for now it is oppressive. This is why we do it. So remove the Death Shadow, or to remove the Death Shadow, remove that. And drew Brazen Borrower, which is a really nice draw to have because it's going to make it difficult for my opponent to get anything going. They agree. They've conceded. I'm up 1-0. So their sideboard looks like this. It has a Cage, a couple Dothy Voidwalkers, some Bowmasters. Yeah. So let's look at what we want to do. I think that I can afford to cut Wastelands and maybe some reanimation package. And like that. Kind of cut Forces. And then bring in pile of cards. Brazen Borrower, Toxic Deluge, Reasonable Spells. I think maybe keep a Wasteland just for mana stability. Keep a couple Wastelands. And cut the Dazes. I think that I'm not going to be well equipped to fight with Daze either, just because my opponent's deck is so mana efficient. And I'm really treating these as colorless lands just to kind of not mana screw myself as hard. Yeah, let's try this. On the draw for game 2, got a pretty stable reactive hand. I'll keep it. Opponent's a Thoughtseize deck, noted from the Death Shadows and stuff. Oh, this might be a Tamiyo. Nope, another Goyf. Okay. So I will play Basic Island Ponder. And this troll has access to a basic swamp for what it's worth. I don't really want another troll. I don't think I want Wasteland right now. I'll shuffle this. Frog, that's a much better draw. Now, it'll become a question about how effectively I can play around Daze with this hand. I think it really depends upon what my opponent's doing and what I'm doing. I might not be able to play around Daze entirely, but might have to instead just try to play less important spells into Daze. Or like use, okay, yeah. So here I'm gonna get the dual land, the tap dual land, I think. So I played Misty instead of Delta. Archon, Bowmaster, Ponder. Bowmaster seems good. I won't shuffle this. Yeah. Okay, maybe I will be able to play around Daze. We'll see. Opponent's managing their life total very carefully. Okay, so at this point I'm not going to fetch the tapped land. So on my turn, AppNap, like active flare, non-active flare, means that Bowmaster Tamiyo into a Brainstorm, Tamiyo flips first. But on my opponent's turn, Bowmaster's triggers deal damage before Tamiyo flips. So I'm going to hold off on this Bowmaster for just a little bit. And then also Wasteland and plays in 2 days. Okay, so at this point I'm going to, I think, double fetch. And since I have another Underground Sea in hand, there's trying to debate between the basic swamp and not. I think I'll play basic swamp. I'll play out Bowmaster. I'm going to deal 2 to this Tameo because it flips with the 3rd card. Then I deal the 3rd damage to it before it would flip. So I'll flip blue. So I'm going to deal 1 to Tameo, and then I'm going to deal another to Tameo. Or do I deal 2 to the Netherglyph? I think I'm doing Tameo. So when Ponder resolves, it's going to get hit again. And then any single draw spell kills Tameo instead of flips it. Although this Fatal Push does kind of ruin my day on that a little bit. Now this Netherglyph can attack as a 3/4, unfortunately. There's not much I can do about that. Tameo could have attacked. It does fly. Dark Betrayal is a solid draw. But I think it's a draw for another turn. This turn I'm going to do Frog into Ponder. So Frog first, and then I will Ponder. This might get dazed, but that's okay. It's running my less important spell into daze. I have to start casting things, I think. Yep, dazed. And no point attacking with the army since the 0/3 can block it. I'm also not going to block Netherglyph with Frog. Too volatile. Yeah, this is looking like it's a setup. Not about to get bit. Yep, Tameo flips. This means I will have to discard a card to make Frog be able to deal damage this coming turn. Which is slightly annoying, but not the end of the world. Fresh Tameo too, okay. So I could Brazen Borrower, bounce this Tameo. And then I can cycle Troll for a land, so I guess I'll pitch the sewers first. So I'll attack Tameo. So cycle Troll for a basic land, or for a non-basic, for an Underground Sea, sorry. And then I could knock Tamio out completely by discarding 3 cards. But I could also deal 2 to her to prevent her from like doing more stuff by just discarding 1 card. I think it's going to be that. So yeah, I'll discard this 1. And now Tamio takes 2. Draw another card. It's a frog. That's good. Now I'm going to attempt Dark Betrayal this Nethergoyf. This might get dazed. Does not. Okay, cool. This Tamio does have to go up to 4 now. But I'll be able to attack her back down. And also against a shadow deck, it's maybe not the worst to be gaining my incremental value while not literally hitting the life total. Okay, dismember. Even if I discarded both my cards in hand, it would not have worked. Fresh Tamio. Blessing Tamio. Fatal Push would be ideal. Hey, found it. So we'll Fatal Push. Here. Then I will attack Tamio. And I think I actually, strange enough, I think I Petty Theft Tamio now. Just because the -3 on Tamio at this point to regrow those things is just a little bit too annoying. So it's much better for me to be able to run it like this, and then I can have my Brazen Borrowers try to block the Tamio. And again, I am kind of trying to keep my opponent above 13 in a way. Okay, Tamio, are they going to draw a 3rd card? No. Okay. We'll attack. I'm not going to use this Brainstorm yet because I think I want to use Borrower this turn, and I think it constrains my mana too much. I did put my opponent to 12, but maybe I can start getting value here with these Brazen Borrowers. Okay, so Tamio's attacking. Borrowers on the stack. See if it connects. It blocks. Okay, we ate a Tamio. Yum. But I guess it's now, okay, shadows are now online. That's the other part of the problem here. 3 mana. Just like a Dismember? No. Nethergoyf from the yard. That makes sense. Okay, so now I'll cast a Brainstorm. Fatal Push. I can cast 2 spells, and when I cast these 2, I play around Daze. So I think that's how I'm going to run it. I'll put Grief on top. Yeah, because I can Fatal Push the Shadow. And play. If I put these 2 on top, I can put Fatal Push on top and play a Frog. And maybe I just do it in this order, because Grief is going to be better than Tamiyo then. So that's what I'll do. Fatal Push. Death Shadow. Attack with Brazen Borrower. I am aware of my life total being 7. But I do need to also beat my opponent to win. Let's see what's happening now. We've got blockers coming out the wazoo. So at this point, I think I use the army to block the Netherglyph if I have a choice. Just so that I'm not one hit from dead at all times. But also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. Yeah, this line is less vulnerable to a removal spell just beating me. So that's how I'm going to run it. Because like any drawn removal spell, I don't want that to suddenly just turn into a win when I had set it up. Given that I'm going to have to chump block it at some point, this is better. So now my opponent sees the Grief on top, we'll draw the card, and then I'll Grief them. That will also help inform how I play this. So now they have a frog too. Three cards in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know I have a Tamiyo on top. Opponent's discarding a bunch of cards to get a counter on this frog, or to grow the frog. I can't hit the land. So now I don't believe I can attack. And so I won't. Kind of a tough spot to be in. So opponent's Netherglyph is coming in for big, big, big damage. But I also have lethal on the backswing if they attack for non-lethal. So given the frog flying, let's see here, how do I block? Do I block Grief to Netherglyph? And block Borrower to there? Double chump? Is that the way? I think the double chump is the way. It's not a stellar strategy in general, but I think it's the thing I have to do right now to stay in this game. Because I know my opponent has one fetch land in hand and one unknown. And I don't want it getting too out of control. And then I'll be able to have Tamiyo and Brazen Borrower next turn as blockers. Let's attack first. It's our second card drawn this turn. And it's a Grief. Maybe I do Grief and Tamiyo? Or do Grief and Borrower? It's a land. I guess I'll Grief first. 2 lands. Okay. Okay, so opponent's attacking. I know about the 2 lands in hand. So if they don't jump the frog, I will probably block with Grief here. Okay, they did jump the frog. So if I block Tamiyo to frog and take 5, I'm going to try that this turn. Tamiyo to frog, take 5. And just hope that they drew 1 more land. Doesn't look like a land, looks like a frog. Okay. It's a problem for me. Reanimate. Can reanimate Tamiyo. Funny enough. Everything else kills me, so it is reanimate on Tamiyo as my only choice. Can I push through with Grief and then have lethal somehow? I'll need to triple block everything coming across me. And I'll have Tamiyo, Borrower, Grief, Frog. So I have 3 attackers, 3 blockers, so I can attack with 1 attacker. So I guess it's gonna be Grief. Very strange game. Reanimate. Tamiyo, go to 1. Pay 3, Brazen Borrower, cast. Those are my 3 blockers for opponent's 3 attackers. So we'll see how this goes. Because if they don't jump the frogs, I can't block with Brazen Borrower. I didn't think about this. Yeah, I forgot that Brazen Borrower can't, the frogs aren't jumping by default, so this has to have a flying blocker. And a die. Okay. That was a tough game. Felt like it was pretty close. Maybe I could have done combat a little bit better at the end there. I feel like I was a little bit indecisive. I want my dazes again on the play, I believe. Grief seemed pretty solid to understand what's going on in the game. Let's see, what do I think I don't want? Maybe I don't need a pile of borrowers. Or I do want some borrowers. They're good against frogs and stuff. And then I can trim 1 animate dead and 1 grief, maybe? Yeah, that seems okay. I'll try that. Okay. Game 3. We're on the play. Entomb Reanimate with a Ponder to boot. Yeah, I'll keep it. So I could ponder off an Underground Sea right now and hope to find land and then do Entomb Reanimate in like a single turn. Ponder off an island, but I don't think that's particularly stable because if I whiff, I just can't cast anything. So I think I'm going to ponder off of Underground Sea right now and try to find backup land. I did not quite find that, but I did find a troll and a grief. Is this good enough? Yeah, I guess I'll keep it and do Grief Pitch Frog. Because I can like take a Grafdigger's Cage or whatever. Yeah, they do have the Wasteland, that sucks. I guess I'll take the Voidwalker. So they're probably going to Wasteland me here, and I'm going to be really, really hurt for it. Yep. Absolutely the right play for my opponent. Maximum punished for me. I'm not out of the game quite yet, but it hurts. I know I'm whiffing again. And eventually, I really hope I draw back into it. Things are not looking good. But I'm also not under pressure. I mean, there's a Bowmaster coming down, but I know about that. Fresh Voidwalker is not what I wanted to see. Okay, I need lands. Stat. It's not good. Bowmaster coming in? Yep. Okay. I feel like I played this right. Maybe I didn't, but I really think I did. I would love to have a land on top, please. I have like, this next turn is the turn it needs to be for me to survive. Needs to be right now. Just land. Now it's still like barely enough. Okay, I'm dead now. GG. Ah, that's rough. Ah, 2-2. Okay, we're back for round 5. We've got an Entomb Reanimate. We're on the draw. We'll keep it. I've also got discard Atraxa to reanimate, and then Entomb Animate dead if I want to like try to push things through in a repeatable way. See what my opponent's playing. That will help determine a lot of this. In Spawn of Time. Something pretty fair then. Revealed Taiga with Once Upon a Time. Okay, I think given this opening, I'm gonna go to clean up and discard Atraxa. Got Reanimate. I've got Entomb Animate dead to follow up. Cavern. Okay, so something wicked this way comes. Cavern on Human. Spirit Guide. Magus. Well, fortunately, I have Basic Swamp. I'm not too concerned about that. Okay. So Force, Grief, Ponder, Island. Seems like the way to go. And I'll do Grief, Pitching, and Tomb here, just to kind of get ahead of the whatever my opponent could have. Caves of Chaos, okay. And I get to discard a card. I'll discard Underground Sea. So opponent's on red-green initiative. And we're up a game. Short and sweet. Okay, so against initiative, I think Tamiyo's going to be too slow. I think there's going to be a decent amount of graveyard hate coming in the sideboard, but I think that I have Borrowers and Barrowgoyfs as cards I want. Fatal Pushes are okay as well. Deluge is okay, so I guess I have these. And then I can cut maybe Griefs and a couple literal reanimates just because of like Chalice and stuff. I'll run this back for game 2. Okay, so opponent's on the play. Just like last time. Okay, this has Force blue card. It's got Entomb, Animate Dead. Yeah, seems great. What's happening? Caves of Chaos Adventure. Can I survive that? I don't think so. I don't think I want to. Force pitch. I think I'd much rather try to Entomb, Animate Dead here. But if this got like Fairy Macabre or something, I would just be absolutely destroyed if I let that Caves of Chaos resolve. So this is how I'm going to play it. 4 mana, all colorless. Nope. Green. Okay, so now they're getting a basic. I will Entomb Archon of Cruelty. And let's see what I draw. Drew land. Perfect. So I will get basic Swamp here, just so I don't randomly get mooned out of the game. Animate Dead Archon. And should be looking good here. But I might have just conceded. 3-minute match. A little too perfect, no? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, opponents are a little bit too perfect, and I agree. That was really nice, really easy. Cool, 3-2 now. See you all for round 6. Hello, welcome to round 6. We're against True Hero, who is another Mox champion. He's playing Mox champions all day today. This has no lands, so I have to mull it. This has Entomb, Reanimate, Force Days. Yeah, love it. Keep. I'll put away one of the Dazes. Or Island, actually. Yeah, put away Island. Because I'm going to want to back up. I'm going to want to fetch a non-basic here with this Entomb to back up and with Daze. Okay, so opponents on Delver type things. On to Rooney. And so since it looks to be a Delver strategy, I think Atraxa is going to be better than Archon for right now on an empty board. Just since I need to build up the lands I have in hand and stuff like that. This is very likely going to get dazed if he has a daze, but I'll daze back. Did not get dazed. Okay, Atraxa. And then as I untap, I'll try to reanimate. So this is going to get fought over. Nope. Okay. No fights, just wins. So against Delver, probably don't want Griefs. I feel like Griefs are pretty weak to Lightning Bolt. Forces aren't that great either. Dazes aren't that great either, but I want some of these. I can probably also cut like an Entomb. Maybe not. I probably want Entombs. I probably don't want, or probably want Fatal Push, Bowmaster, Toxic Deluge, Barrowgoyf, Brazen Bar. Probably want these 10 cards. And this is 11 out. I can probably keep like 2 dazes and trim a Wasteland. Seems okay for right now. Let's try it. Also cut one Animate Dead, but I think that having Animate Deads is going to be pretty good for Delver. Because I don't want to take all the damage all the time. This hand's a little bit fragile, but I think it's a keep. Sewers does help surveil. Like, to find more lands, I mean. Obviously, it surveils. True Heroes leading on Misty Pass. Upkeep action. Or just doesn't realize he has a stop set is more likely. Alright, so we drew a Fatal Push for turn. We're going to try to find lands. That counts because of this troll, so I'll keep that on top. Okay, so Wasteland is coming in, but at least I have a troll that I can use in conjunction with this Wasteland in order to have functioning mana. Let's see what this gets. Bulk, yeah. Yep. DRC. Nothing surprising so far. I think I'm going to get an Underground Sea. Maybe I just get Swamp because my hand functions off of black. Fatal Push the DRC and then waste the bulk. Fetching this island kind of feels a little bit like weakness to me as far as mana stability goes. Okay, I'm wrong. Delver. Now I could use a land to play this Bowmaster. Hey, found it. Okay, so I'll fetch. I am going to go for a basic island here. I just kind of want to exhaust the fights over these fair things. Like this Bowmaster got forced instead of into Reanimate. Okay, not a flip. And a fetch. No, he wants to draw the card. If it's another threat, that's one thing. Murktide? Murktide. Okay, so if I draw another black source, I will go for Entomb Reanimate with Daze Protection. I did. Great. So let's do Entomb. And I will get Archon of Cruelty. I think I'm going to animate Dead It because I can protect with Daze. And then I can like reanimate a Bowmaster later. Or I found Entomb Reanimate for the next half of the combo. Very convenient. Alright, well, that was a pretty easy one. Mox champion defeated. Cool. We're 4-2 now. I'll see you all for round 7. Okay, we're back for round 7 against McWinsauce. We will keep this. McWinsauce might be on Beans, might be on Rescaminator. It's got quite a range. Might be on Blue-Black Tempo, which is what this start looks like to me. Okay. Thoughtseize. Yeah, so this is a Blue-Black Tempo opening for sure. The good news on one of these two is he can't take both, because if he takes Tamiyo, I reanimate it. Takes reanimate, I play Tamiyo. But given this opening, I also might just Wasteland. Same way that I got destroyed in my round 4. I think I will want to do the same thing to McWinsauce here, or at least present myself the opportunity to do that. So we Wasteland. And we start the game over with fresh hands, more or less. And looks like he's got more. So I am going to lead on Undercity Sewers here, I think. Try to get some more deck manipulation going. I don't want another force. At this point, I'm kind of looking to Tamiyo and flip Tamiyo. But we'll see what McWinsauce has in store for me. Kept a card on top. So he's playing like the Nethergoyf tempo deck with a Prolific Springs and a frog, huh? Okay. Entomb is a pretty interesting draw. I think this turn I'd like to do Tamiyo and Brainstorm. And I'll protect it with Force if I need to. Or maybe I just hang back with this land. And then if, in response to a removal spell, I try to flip the Tamiyo. Because now I can't do it. Because now it just gets eaten if I flip before damage. I think I'll block though. I think I'll block anyway. See if he's going to discard 2 cards to try to Deal me lethal. He does. Okay. Tamiyo is dead. Poor Tam. Another frog. That's too much. I feel like Daze is the last card. Yep. But I had to, try to fight it. Reanimate's the best draw. But I will brainstorm first. Okay, we found Entomb Reanimate. So I found Reanimate for Tamiyo is another way of thinking, but I think I want to do something more deadly. Because I can Entomb now. And I think I should. Get a Traxa. And then this way I can try to do my best to play around Daze and stuff, since I know the land right now is the hand is just a land. This plays around as many things as I can. Okay, new land. Surveilling into the yard. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Nope, keeping on top. So I think I just reanimate Atraxa and see how this goes. Or some blue card. Now I'm going to ponder. Found another reanimate and a borrower. And a land. I like that quite a bit. So let's do it. I have not played a land this turn, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, no shuffle, play land. And then so I have reanimate on top, and then a borrower below it, which I can get with Atraxa, which will allow me to stem the bleeding. This is 4 damage, which puts me to 10. And of course, make Sauce draws 2 more cards, which we don't love. Another land. What could it be? Barrogoyf. Pretty deadly. But at least I know I have Brazen Borrower on top, so I'm happy to do this. Hopefully we don't get forced again. We don't. Okay, so Brazen Borrower, Ponder, Force, and Underground Sea. So I think that I keep the Delta around as a potential Undercity Sewers. I'm likely to bounce the Barrogoyf, but not a sure thing yet. Let's see how the attacks come in first. Life total being low is not good for me. I need to be aware of every force in fetch mattering. Just the Barrowglyph coming in. Let's petty theft it. See how that petty thievery goes. Coming in again. So now I'm going to force pitching Ponder. And now I'm at 2 life, which means that if I fetch to go to 1, a Bowmaster could kill me, but I'm going to gain 7 off this attack. Yep. I think we're doing okay. But maybe I don't put myself to 1 for no reason. Grief is a good draw. I'll grief now. Just to understand anything that could happen to me. I feel like there's a Bowmaster or like a block fatal push kind of thing going on. His plan is like to block and fatal push to negate lifelink. Something like that. And this long pause kind of supports that, in my opinion. Okay, there's the fetch land. It's like a brainstorm in response. Dismember. That was the surprise. And then, yep, big frog. So I'm not going to attack with Atraxa now because I don't want to lose my 2/2. I'd much rather have a good blocker. Okay, so now I'm feeling better about this all, I think. Because now he attacks. He doesn't attack, even better. So I'm going to flash in a Brazen Borrower. Not going to go to 1 for no reason. Grief is good. Attack first, and then I can see where things lie. Attack. I think this is going to motivate a flyer. Yep, flying blocker. Okay, this connects through. I feel way better about my life total being 9 than I did about it being 2. Now I will play a grief. And it's going to just prompt a discard if nothing else. Either dazed or discarded or, yeah, there we go, dazed. So now, depending upon the next draw, I can potentially attack with Brazen Borrower. Ponder. Shuffle. Concede. Okay, great. Good job, Atraxa, you did it. Okay, so against the blue-black tempo deck, I think I want to cut forces in a couple dazes. I think I like the full reanimation thing because I can target either one of us with reanimation stuff. I think I keep some element of it. I don't know if I keep all of it. Maybe I don't keep any forces or dazes and I trim a grief as well. Or maybe I cut the griefs on the draw. And then I could keep the Archon as well, just to have both reanimation targets in case one gets like spellbombed. I need 11 cards, or I need 10 cards. What's the, like these 10? My blue count is pretty low now. It's not the worst, but it's not good. But borrowers, or might be something else I want. Not super efficient in the matchup though. Maybe I just don't want borrowers and I want Last Entomb. Let's try that. Yeah, this seems potentially good. It's 16 blue cards because I have the 4 frogs. Okay, this hand seems solid for a lot of the same reasons the first one did. This is more fragile of note due to the Underground Sea being my only source of mana. Gunzas is bubbling himself, which means either high too much or too few land. Okay, surveilling. Maybe it wasn't. Oh, he just binned a land, so he's high on lands. But I just drew Wastelands and I'm trying to delay the game until I draw land. So I think that I'm holding on to this Underground Sea a little bit longer before I deploy it. Spellbomb, okay. Cool, now we have a backup Underground Sea as well, which is nice. Okay, so now I think I go land Tameo. Just let this happen. Whatever happens here, I'm not too concerned. This could get pushed, it could get killed, whatever. And then I'll just continue to fight. Yep, pushed. So next turn I can potentially just attempt to reanimate it, but that fail, but then the spellbomb's gone and I can do more good stuff with my yard. Frog. Okay, so I'm not going to worry too much about reanimating just yet then. I will go Fatal Push the Frog. And actually I will do this now on the reanimate because I'll attempt to reanimate his frog because he'll have to nuke his own graveyard to prevent this. Alright, let's it hit. Okay, so I have McWinsauce's frog in play. Hopefully McWinsauce doesn't have McWinsauce's Brazen Borrower, which of course he does. Let's brainstorm. A lot of reanimates. Put away, reanimate, or animate dead, and then reanimate on top. And I think I ponder now, try to find a land, and then try to reanimate my Tameo. there's a land and more reanimates. I'll take it, I guess. 1, 2, 3. No. So now I attempt to reanimate my Tamiyo. This will likely get the spell bomb popped. Then next turn, when McWinsauce plays his frog again, I can push his frog and then attempt to reanimate his frog. That's the plan here. Yep. So now, passing the turn back to McWinsauce. Frog is in play. Ooh, holding up 2 mana. Or just playing. Ooh, playing Mockingbird. Okay, so entering as a frog, flying. That's pretty cool. So it always flies by default. So what do I do here? This is a tough spot. Because if I can't kill the frog and try to reanimate it, because the other frog will exile it to give it flying and, you know, foil my reanimate. I think I have to save the reanimate for my Bowmaster, which means that I need to push and Bowmaster. So I guess I do that all now. I'll Fatal Push Frog. And then in my opponent's upkeep, I'm going to flash in this Bowmaster because it's going to demand another card spent on this one. So if this resolves, I can deal 1 damage to this frog. And then if this frog connects, then McWinsauce will have to discard another card to counteract the flying, or counteract the extra Bowmaster damage. Or he has to kill my frog, in which case I live. Like, we deal. So he connects. Trigger goes on the stack. I deal 1. He discards a card. So it's turning it into a loot as opposed to a draw card on this one. Discard a Brainstorm, which of course with the Bowmaster in play is not the best card. A Wasteland of his own. And let's see what we draw. Animate Dead. Now we Brainstorm. Okay, Archon of Cruelty is not quite what I want. Animate Dead is a little off as well. So I will attack here. See if my stuff gets killed. And then on end step, I'll fetch a Surveil land, I believe. I could Surveil now and see if I can't hit with this Reanimate. Maybe I do that. I could not hit with the Reanimate, so I just passed the turn. We're coming in. I'm taking a bunch of damage. But I do get to kill the borrower on connection. Okay, so he's not attacking with the frog. Frog is hanging back. This feels like a force of will. No, it's a hardcast Fairy Macabre. That's a flying blocker. 4th land is great. Love fourth land. Baraglyph. Okay, so we're in. Not attacking. So if he attacks and Frog connects, then I can kill Brazen Borrower with my Bowmaster. Baraglyph of his own. We bump Baraglyphs into each other, I can reanimate. So yeah, in with the flyers, I cannot deal with that. I take 5, go to 8. And I'm lagging. Okay. Instead, I'm going to go to 7. I'm going to try to surveil. Get some card selection. If I can destroy this Baraglyph, I'm in really good shape. Fatal Push. Potentially. Okay, so let's attack with Baraglyph. And see where we end up. So we both bounce off each other. Now I reanimate my Baraglyph. And then if this works, I Fatal Push the Psychic Frog. I think. Oh, another Macabre. I think I still Fatal Push the Psychic Frog. I think the top of the deck favors me in some way. Yeah, because this had always had flying, so. Yep, now I'm taking 5, and McWinsauce is taking 3, but I have a lot more access to the cards I draw. Like, I can use them. As soon as McWinsauce cantrips, he loses his borrower. Troll is not the best draw. I will use it, though, just to have more lands in play. Okay, so now I'm going to take 5, go to 2. That's a tough spot for me to be in. Yep, okay. Brazen Borrower might be my best draw. Could bounce the Macabre and block the Borrower or something like that. Entomb is not my best draw. I'll just concede. Big Win Sauce is good enough to not screw this up. Okay, so for game 3, I do think I want all my dazes. And maybe I want Griefs. Maybe I don't want Daze, I just want Grief. And I don't want Deluge. I can trim a Grief. Yeah, I liked kind of the idea of just like forcing through all the spot removal graveyard stuff. I feel like it's wrong to have 0 days. I will cut Grief and just play the dazes. Yeah. Oh, Brazen Borrower's in the sideboard. I could not draw it. Be on the play. This hand does not cast anything. Mulligan. This hand is so close, but is also a mulligan. Let's see how McWinsauce does on his 7. This is really close to good, but it's not good. This was a land, it would be great, but it's not. Or like a colored source. Okay, McWinsauce stopped for a while and kept the 7. I'm gonna go to 5. Now 4. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess I'm going to 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. Yeah, that was a... Yeah, so this is a rough spot for me to be in. But I think I just have to like just high roll it. And if this was like a Nihil Spellbomb or something, I'm just fucked. Ponder. Chose not to shuffle, so this... He has some sort of answer to this Traxa. Well, I drew the reanimate, so let's see. We in there? Yeah, well. I do my best on a mold of 3. This is probably a frog. Yep, so I could draw a Fatal Push. It's not a Fatal Push. Now I'm in trouble. But, I mean, I was in trouble before, too. I had a 3-card hand to McWinsauce's 7. Being down 4 cards to start. Okay, so Barrogoyf. Barrogoyf means I think I'm... No fetch now. I can draw my own Barrogoyf. Okay, I could draw a reanimation spell now. Drew a Fatal Push. I'll take it, I suppose. I'm in bad shape here, for clarity. And this Barrowglyph can mill over like more Fairy Macabres and stuff too, so that will ruin me. So what he's doing right now is he's setting up a brainstorm where the top 2 cards are going to get milled to this Barrowglyph, which is a perfect brainstorm. Either creatures he wants to regrow or just cards he wants to put away. So like, probably like that Netherglyph and this Thoughtseeds, I'm guessing were not interesting cards to want here. So this is probably my last chance to draw a reanimation spell for this Archon before the game is over. Because this is way too lethal. Okay, it's way too lethal. Animate dead is my best shot here. GG. Okay, well, that was a rough loss for a Molda 3. But, you know, you watched the hands just as I did. 4-3 now. I guess I'll play the last round, try to be 5-3, and see where I land in standings. See you all for round 8. Okay, we are on the play for round 8. And we've got some Entomb Reanimate action. Love to see it. Okay. I will hold off on fetching until I know what's going on for my opponent's side. So I'll just like go Misty Pass. The other option is Basic Island Tamiyo, and I kind of hold off on the reanimate aspect a little bit. But I think I like... Or actually, I do kind of like that. I've talked myself into this. Basic Island Tamiyo. Forgot to look up what my opponent's on. Apparently they're a vintage player who plays a bunch of mono-white initiative, so I don't necessarily know what that means for Legacy, but probably Stompy of some sort. No. No stomping here. Okay, I'll attack first. Then I'm going to ponder post-combat. Hope to find a swamp, I suppose. We'll see. A little bit concerned about my opponent reanimating now. But 1, 2, 3, no shuffle. So I have an Entomb on top. See what opponent does. They are entombing. So we'll see what they get. Okay, it's Atraxa. Then depending upon how they use their mana, my Entomb Atraxa in response. Reanimate. So I don't want to Entomb Atraxa in response yet because they could just reanimate my another Atraxa essentially. They're getting a force. With all this. And a troll reanimate. Frog, something like that. I paused, what's up? Okay. Alright, I'm not unpause. Whoops, I had been paused. I'm really sorry. I don't know how much of this you missed. But I was facing down Atraxa and getting shredded. Grief took my reanimate. I'm flipping a Tamiyo. Good thing I unpaused at just the right moment here. Very sorry about that. I hope that you didn't miss too much. I think it's been a little while since I thought I paused and unpaused. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, swingy game. They got Atraxa into play. I've been fighting to get my Archon into play to try to, beat their Atraxa in the heads up. And I have now succeeded in doing that. So that's pretty cool. Also, now that I have a Tamiyo, I can buy back Reanimate to really seal the deal if I need to by taking their Atraxa. And they're animating Atraxa now. That's fine. See what they find. All sorts of good stuff. So I will still be able to at least attempt to reanimate their Atraxa, because when I attack Archon with Archon, they're going to have to sacrifice the Atraxa. And then I'll be able to buy back reanimate it. So at the very least, that's the plan I have going into this next turn. I am drawing a Psychic Frog for turn. I know about that from my Ponder. They took Reanimate, Psychic Frog, Swamp, and Tomb. They're keeping Entomb Reanimate, essentially. It's a Swamp, not a Delta. But that's their 4-card hand. So we will see what they choose to do at this point, but I think that I've got it. Tamiyo continues to be extremely good, by the way. And it's going to be, I think, an all-star of the new Legacy format moving forward. Okay, opponent's passing the turn. So now I attack with Archon. They lose their Atraxa, and I get to reanimate it. Or at least that's what would happen. Here we go. They let me attack, which they did. Drew a daze too, which is very convenient. Now they're going to 5, so they won't be able to reanimate a big creature. And -3, and I'm going to grab reanimate. I'm going to reanimate the Atraxa. And I will get Animate Dead, Brainstorm, Pluto Delta, Troll. Yeah, just those 4. Done. I will play this Brainstorm first, in case it helps dictate what I do. It does not. So now I'll go to a Troll and Frog. And then I will Animate Dead on my opponent's Grief and rip whatever relevant spell out of their hand. It's going to be Entomb. Okay. So I got control of this game. Control. 'Cause 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 control. And opponent agrees, I'm up 1-0. Now for sideboarding this thing. Definitely want to cut the full reanimation package. I think I'd rather cut forces than griefs. I think I want these 11, which means I'll cut 1 grief as well. Maybe I cut 1 daze and I keep all the griefs. Let's do that. Maybe I cut 1 wasteland and keep... Yeah, I'll do that. I like that. Seems fine. Deck is submitted. Okay, on the draw for game 2, this hand is very solid. It's got a bunch of reanimation stuff and a way to kill ways to kill things. So kill stuff, bring things back is really the name of the game for post-board Rescaminator, which you don't really need to know now because this deck is getting banned. Now that said, I do hope that Reanimator exists in some form in Legacy. I think it's been a staple of the format for a long time, and it's a net good for that to be the case. They chose to keep with Ponder. So this hand is all black, and so there's a chance I don't want to go basic island here. But we'll see. The opponent's just passing, so I guess I'll fetch a Surveil land on end step. Undercity Sewers is in. Opponent's thinking about it. I really don't know what they're thinking about. I think they just don't realize that they need to pass priority. There we go. Brainstorm, yeah, I'll keep that. So I think this turn is one more turn I'm going to take off to try to invalidate my opponent's dazes because they're not putting any pressure on me. And then next turn I can start taking a bunch of actions. But we'll see what they do. Maybe they're surveilling now. Pretty cool. Yep, they sure are. And is it good? Okay, reanimate into the yard. So either they're pretty full up on that sort of effect, or I don't know. I will brainstorm in response to this because I might be able to hit a daze. But, you know, the Bowmaster, it's play. I'm going to fatal push that guy. I've already played land for turn, so I'm gonna go full up underground seas here all the way down. Fatal push the Bowmaster. And this gets forced. Okay. So they don't have a daze. I draw 3, put 2 back. Maybe I put away animate dead with troll on top. Yeah. They're going to deal me 3 damage. I'm at 14. And then my hand is pretty well equipped to start off with a grief pitching reanimate, I think. Maybe I just Dark Betrayal reanimate this turn on my opponent's Bowmaster. Or maybe I'll do a Grief Pitch Troll. Yeah, then the Animate Dead coming off the top is fine. Like I can assess this. They have a reanimate of their own. So if I do take the reanimate, then I can Dark Betrayal their Bowmaster, and then I can reanimate their Bowmaster, and they cannot really Brainstorm. Or they can, but it's not very good. So now I'm in much better shape. Okay, they've Fatal Pushed. Now they can Brainstorm. They figured out the combo. Removal plus. So I think on my next turn, I'm going to chump the army. I'm going to Fatal Push the army and or Dark Betrayal the army. And then reanimate Bowmaster. And now I have an Animate Dead for grief, I suppose. If that's where the game is going. Very back and forth here. Nope, my opponent has Animate Dead for grief. Not me. I was wrong. Okay. So it would seem. Did I bring in my Brazen Borrowers? I did, right? Yes, good. Not a Brazen Borrower, but it is nice to see. Okay, so now I gotta hang back. I am going to trade damage right now because my Bowmaster is turning off their cantrips. Like, if they ponder or something here, that's really bad. Okay, Frog. A little dangerous for me. Bowmaster is great for me, okay. I'll attack like this. And if they block, then I flash in Bowmaster. They didn't. Do I flash a bit in Bowmaster now, or do I wait until upkeep? I think I'm just going to wait a little bit. I think I really telegraphed it, but I'm going to wait still. So these both come in? Okay, so Psychic Frog takes 1 hit from this ping. Now if I allow it to connect, It'll draw a card, which will deal 2 damage to it, meaning that he has to discard 2 cards to keep it alive. Or I just kill the grief outright. So, I think I'm going to try to kill this frog. Even though this is going to survive, it's going to force the discarding of the cards, which is what I think I need in order to make it through this game. Another card has to get pitched. Now the frog survives. Now granted, Island and Brainstorm were not particularly valuable. But maybe I can draw something good here. Just like that. Let's Fatal Push now before we get too ahead of ourselves. I'll attack for 6. Or for 6. So 9, I go to 3. 3, I go to 1. I win the race. Okay, this is close. Very close. At least this is a ground pounder too, so I'm still in it. Let's start with the Wasteland. So that I don't need to worry about an ambush Bowmaster or something. Okay, putting my opponent to 3 life. And then they put me back to 1. And then I should be able to win. My understanding how these things work. Okay, opponent's attacking, putting me to 1. Impressive. Okay, so I will attack with these 2. I guess just this 1. No, these 2. Want to lose to 2 removal spells? Yeah, I'll try not to lose to 2 removal spells. Yep, there's a Fatal Push. Okay, now I play a frog. Now I have 3 blockers to my opponent's 2 attackers. Or one menace attacker, I should say. So I block like this. And hope my opponent doesn't have literal reanimate. They've used 2. I think that's the line. They're killing the frog, so that's good for me, I think. Oh, that's why I should have done it with an attack last turn. That was a mistake. I was not going to win that necessarily. Nope, I was not. I think opponent conceded too soon. But I did win because they decided that I had won. That's pretty cool. We're 5-3. Let's see here. Who's in top 8? Oh, my buddy Gate is in top 8. That's awesome. My buddy Tendrils is 6-1 battling for top 8. Hope he gets it. Seba is someone I know as well. Decent guy. Good to see him in top 8. Eureka62, big fan of him. Good friend. Looks like he's going to be in top 16. Yeah, let's... I don't think I'm going to be able to top 32 because my breakers are pretty bad. But I will give it my best shot. I mean, I did give it my best shot. I'm probably going to be in like the 40s is my guess. Mid-40s as far as placement goes. But I have to wait for the end of it. You don't. So I'll see you all in just a second. All right, so I finished top 48 at 5-3. Right at the bottom of the 5-3s. You can see my breakers are pretty garbage. But that was to be expected. Looking at the top, Gate is in top 8. That's very nice. Also up a game. Good for him. Poor Mike got 9th. Tendrils got 14th. Ethan Monkeys Can't Cry got 22nd. And Diego got 32nd, which is nice for him. Yeah. All in all, I think it was a solid last run out with some blue-black Rescaminator. Sorry, this is Murder Energy. But here's blue-black Rescaminator. Yeah, obviously, so Grief is getting the ban tomorrow for sure. I wouldn't be shocked to see Psychic Prog go with it, but we'll see. I don't know where that's going to go. Looking forward to seeing how Legacy adapts, and I'm sure that I will be trying to put out new technology in the weekend challenges and new videos every Monday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Monday. Bye-bye.